Hello, y'all. Hello, y'all. Hello, y'all. Hey, you know what? Hello. Hello, hello. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah. So, you know what? I have, during this last year of my life, I have heard the term narcissist more in the last year of my life than probably all of the years before it. Narcissist. Narcissism. I see it on Facebook. People are like lining up to get on that thing of like, let's connect around hating those narcissists and telling them all the things that they are and just being livid with narcissism and just blah. Okay? You hear me? I'm guessing, I'm hoping, I'm thinking, I'm expecting that you fully agree with that. Would you not? Have you not seen that trend, narcissism and people coming together around, the internet makes it possible for people to connect on anything and then to get rallied up around their view and go like, we're right, okay? So, narcissist, whatever. Imagine this, imagine a scenario where there's like a little village of people way back in the day, picturing silos and hay and there's people living life, blacksmith and whatever, okay? Renaissance, I don't know, Renaissance time, which is right now. But anyways, that's a digression, or so they say. Here we go, back to the flow. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is imagine people living, and imagine over time, you're watching them from above, almost like they're like in test tubes, or, they're in like a little ant farm at home, and you're watching these people, and you're noticing there's this trend of what happens is that there's certain individuals within the group that kind of start to get like shunned by the group a little bit, and so they start to kind of put on a shell, and they put on a shell, and then they feel more shunned, and then they put on the shell, and they feel more separate, and so they really shell up, and they put on this really hard shell. Well, imagine if the people, the unshelled people, were like, have you noticed all these people with these shells? Yeah, can you believe that? Can you believe that? Can you believe all those people with those shells? Oh my gosh, they do this and they do this. They won't do this. They won't do this. They don't see it this way. They just always talk about themselves, and they will not see it my way. They will not see it my way. They will not see it my way. All kinds of stuff could be put in there in terms of like the people that people look at and go like, they won't see it my way. 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 And imagine that you see that this group then decides that they're going to go on the attack and go up and say, hey, you guys, you need to be this way, and you need to be this way, and you need to be this way, or else. And imagine if what you knew looking down, because you had seen this play out before, was that actually the shell is there by certain people because that's what happens within that particular specimen when its resources have been tapped and it goes into what might be called fearful or fight or flight mode or protective mode, or a turtle into its shell or whatever, and it's in protective mode. So it's like survival. So imagine if then the people go after the shelled up people or the shelled up beings, whatever we're talking about, and say, put more pressure on, put more pressure on, put more pressure on, put more pressure on them. Of course, it's like a theme in life, right? When there's just an energy that's acting, and then it's like, well, there just needs to be an experience of, there's a term called moratorium, and the first time I heard someone use it, I kind of made fun of the idea, because the idea was, what's up, my man? The idea was to take time off from like an important discussion, or like, to take some time to think about it. And I, at the time, being young and whatever you want to say about it, I just thought that seemed like the lamest non-answer. And I recognize now in my life that it's actually always the best. Whenever there's active conflict for any in particular being, it seems wise to take a breath, relax, relent, if you will. So, yeah, that's that. So the narcissism thing. Hey, speaking of narcissists and stuff, you and Max were doing that like program a couple years ago. Did you like where is that at? Is that something that's like still in a pipeline, or was that kind of like, yeah, we worked on it for a little while, and now it's kind of like we got onto other things? Or I'm just curious, because I'm making a video right now. I'll give some context. And kind of at the beginning, I started out talking about like narcissism and how I'm really seeing the trend, particularly on Facebook, but everywhere really, of people like kind of coming and connecting around this idea that, yeah, so-and-so's a narcissist. So it's like a reason to hate that person and a reason to just like lump people into this category of narcissists. And so I'm kind of, I guess kind of trying to make the point within this, that it's like, imagine if kind of describing like a scenario where you're like watching like organic organisms function from above, and you kind of know how their patterns play out and stuff like that. And you notice that like there's a time when some of them like shell up and like will not relent because they're in like survival mode, kind of like last straw type thing. And that like imagine if then like all the other cells around or whatever were then like gonna go like, oh, we gotta go after those ones.
The narcissists.
Yeah, we'll call them narcissists. And then we gotta like put pressure on them to change when like actually what if it was like maybe the only thing that could allow that harmony to come out of that situation is like relaxing the expectations around how anybody should be in particular or something like that.
Yeah, so to answer your question, it's still on the back burner, but the whole point of it was like inspired by a similar conversation and dialogue that's going on where, all these people were like, oh, like I was in a relationship and I thought it was all going to work, but it turns out he was a narcissist. And so
Yeah.
it can't. And so
Yeah.
And then as soon as that label's there, then it's like he's not a human anymore, now he's a narcissist.
Yeah.
And so like or vice versa, you know what I mean? And men complain about that kind of thing less. Like they just kind of think like, well, I'm not strong enough or I'm not man enough to handle this, and they kind of slink away. Like they don't do the like she's a narcissist thing, but it's starting to happen more.
Yeah.
So it's like both sides. And so my whole thing was like teach people how to be narcissist proof. So like where they're not attracting narcissists anymore, or if they think they're in relationship with a narcissist and they're sitting there like, oh, that person's a narcissist, maybe they're the one being narcissistic a little bit, and just presenting them with all the frames that they need to untangle that scenario and see where it's probably just like some
because
defense mechanism that you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's
the way my mind has kind of played out this narcissism thing is that I kind of think that whenever people come to a place where they kind of just put a label on somebody, it's just kind of like really what's going on is that those two people just should not be spending time together. Like someone's trying to find every reason why to get that person away from them or whatever, and to bring this label in as this like Trump thing, to be like boom. Yeah, like what does that accomplish? What does like getting someone like labeled into that category go like that? Like what does it really accomplish? That's what I can't figure out logically. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't make any logical sense.
No, it emotionally feels safer for the individual that's labeling the person, because now they can put them outside of the world that they consider normal. Because as soon as they've like got you with the label, then they can put you outside of the consensus reality. Now that person with the label is outside of normal. And I'm over here inside of normal with all these other normal people that are agreeing with me. And so that's cognitively why they do it. Because they want to feel safe on the other side of the label from the person that's making them uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well then. All right. Well, I think I'm going to shut this guy off, try to see if I have any last thoughts.